Hi, folks. After a brief pause, we're back to movie nights, and this week's film is the 1984 masterpiece from Columbia Pictures, The Karate Kid. The original, the real Karate Kid, the one that I grew up on. There are a lot of references that people might not even know come from The Karate Kid. Everything from Wax On, Wax Off, Daniel-san and Miyagi, uh, sand the floor, the crane kick. There's so many things. Focus power. It's all kind of come into popular culture in a big way. Many people who are now very well established fighters, choreographers, action actors, etc., have really credited Enter the Dragon with their interest in getting into the martial arts, and it led to a whole career for them. The Karate Kid did that for a whole new generation of people, and it certainly stood the test of time. It's has since spun off to the Netflix series Cobra Kai, which is much more aimed at sort of middle to older teenagers, especially as it's finishing up and kind of all the characters are talking about moving on to college. But this is the original, the origin of Daniel LaRusso. I want to learn a little more about kind of how Ralph Macchio feels about it. What was it like in the moment, and his thoughts on how the movie has become such a part of pop culture. He actually wrote a book called Waxing On, The Karate Kid and Me. And there's also a documentary called The Real Miyagi, which talks about the actual karate practitioner that was the body double for the Mr. Miyagi character. Whenever you don't see Miyagi's face during any sort of fight or choreography, or if it's, the camera is way far away, it was this other performer who is actually a very legitimate karate master, whereas Pat Morita had not trained in karate before the film. This one is rated PG, right about 2 hours long, so a little bit long for the younger kids. A little bit of swearing, some kind of romantic moments, some kissing between some characters. There is a very brief scene where, if you know what you're looking for, it's pretty obvious a kid is rolling up a marijuana joint. They really don't get into the details of it. And probably the most intense or upsetting scene for younger kids would be where Daniel finds Mr. Miyagi apparently very drunk. There's a reference to the internment camps where Japanese Americans were imprisoned during World War II due to extreme paranoia over potential Japanese spies living within the United States. It's a pretty intense scene, and obviously it's a pretty sad idea of, this beloved character, his wife and child passing away. So that one's pretty intense. As for the fights, the violence is actually pretty minimal. You see people hit. There's very little blood or anything like that. This definitely gets into the idea of practicing a martial art for self-defense compared to sport, how those two things can overlap, and how those two things can be very different, and also how there can be very different approaches to martial arts, even though the students think they're pretty much training the same thing and can be taught very differently. Bring your favorite snack and drinks, bring a blankie and a pillow, relax, get comfortable, and enjoy this classic martial arts film that I have probably seen no fewer than a dozen times at this point. It definitely holds up over the years.